going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Swagcast. This week we have an episode that's been a long time coming. A long-time martial artist, a full-time Twitch streamer, and a gambling mastermind, CotyDankh. What's going on, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. Finally making it happen. We've been talking about doing this for a while, I feel like.
Yeah, nah, for sure. You know, the schedule's opened up for you, so it's easier to get you on now. It's been the best time.
Yeah.
So I first want to dive into the martial arts, because I know you've been a long time trainer of jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt, right?
Nah, I'm a purple belt.
Oh, you're a purple
Yeah.
belt. Okay, I
Yeah.
always assumed you were like a black belt savage. But
Eventually,
um,
one day.
one day, yeah, we're all black belts in our mind. So what martial art did you first start with? Was it jiu-jitsu, or do you have like a wide range of different martial arts that you've trained?
Yeah, so I'm 29. When I was like 20, I was just walking out of a Safeway, and a guy stopped me for a kickboxing free trial and just told me to come in. And then like a week later, I was in kind of a bad state. Just kind of had just moved back home after moving around, big breakup, the cliche story, and then was home, had all this extra free time that I wasn't used to having. Dude asked me to train. I was like, yeah, maybe, whatever. I was a big UFC fan. I've been a big MMA fan since I was like 10. I don't know. I was going to Blockbuster, getting Ultimate Knockouts 2 and stuff like that. So, yeah, after like a week, I was like, man, I'm just sitting around doing nothing. I hit this dude up and was like, hey, when can I come by? And then he was like, come by today. So I went by, did kickboxing for a couple months, and then they were like, it was an MMA gym, and they were like, what would you they said, mess with me like, oh, you don't have any wrestling. What do I just take you down and smother you? I was like,
Uh-huh.
all right, I'll come try it out sometime. And then started jujitsu. Honestly, thought the gi was dumb and I'd never get into it, but here I am now. I've been training almost 10 years. It's been like nine and a half, some change, something like that. I'll do jujitsu until my body just doesn't allow it anymore. I'd still do some boxing, kickboxing, but really just for fun. I'm not like trying to be an MMA fighter anymore. I want to get my black belt, want to open gyms and coach, and that's what I'm working on now. I don't know how much of that we've already talked about, but like off the pod, but yeah, I really fell in love with it, and it's my favorite thing to do now. I didn't wrestle in high school. I thought I heard you on with King Diaz talking about how you guys both thought wrestling was kind of sus or meh. I was the same way. My brother wrestled, and I was like, why would I want to do that? Like I was like the party kid. I was going to, I was like out all the time, friggin' doing all kinds of dumb shit, and yeah, last thing I wanted to do was hang out with a bunch of jocks and work out all day.
Yeah, bro, wrestling gay as hell. Like, especially like especially when you hit high school. Like when you hit high school, it's like because there's like two levels. There's like the dogs that are like understand wrestling and like are savages, and then there's the guys that are just happy to be there. And I was the one that was just happy to be there. You know, a little pudgy, never jacked. And I was always getting tossed around. And even just saying that, getting tossed around is just, that statement alone is just sus. So yeah, like wrestling definitely gives that vibe. But grappling as a whole, like when you mix in like the wrestling, the judo, and the jiu-jitsu, do you still do like days where it's like only wrestling, or like days where it's like only judo, or do you kind of always like try to mix it into your jiu-jitsu or to your full knowledge, your abilities?
So nowadays, the past like 2.5 years, I've been training under Eric Bidark, who's a D1 wrestler. Been wrestling since he was a kid. He's been wrestling for like 40 years. And he's also a black belt, seriously a high level black belt under Chris Howder, who's like a legendary American black belt. And he's under Machado. So, some really high level jujitsu from Eric. Best black belt I've ever trained under. I've got to train under a lot of friggin' high level guys. I mean, the humbling this man gave me when I came to his gym, I was thinking I was like pretty damn good. I've been competing against black belts for a couple years now, and I mean, because at purple it's just expert. So
Mm.
I've beat plenty of black belts, and even in the gym, it's rare that if I roll you 10 times, I'm not gonna submit you at least once or twice. This man Eric, like he absolutely made me realize, kid, you got a lot to learn. Because when you got somebody who blends that wrestling and jujitsu like he does, and I mean the pressure, the strength, this dude's got that country boy strength. Been lifting hay for like 40 years with D1 wrestling. So yeah, I mean we do wrestling days. And he's definitely a big position over submission, takedown, guard pass, submission guy. He's not a let's play guard, but scoot around. No, there is no like. I've never been at a gym that was big on like. Well, neither of the gyms I've trained at full time have been like guard pull or uh, guard playing gyms. It went from an MMA gym for 7 years to a wrestling based jujitsu gym. So definitely some wrestling days. We have a couple of judo guys. We have a judo black belt that comes through sometimes, and so we'll do like a day where he teaches judo class and stuff like that. Eric's got some judo as well. I can't remember what belt he is there, but yeah, it's good. It's good to blend them, but it also is good to, I think primarily it's best to just, at the end of the day, judo, wrestling, jujitsu, it's all grappling. Like it's the same thing as when people are like, Khabib is Sambo. It's like, dude, I literally am watching him do jujitsu moves that I use. Like,
Yeah.
he wants to shout out his Russia ties and support Sambo because it's the Russian art. But at the end of the day, grappling is grappling. I'm not one of these jujitsu guys who's like, oh, wrestling is blah blah blah. And if you don't have jujitsu, nah, like wrestling. First of all, if you don't have any wrestling, you're gonna be doing jujitsu and you know you're gonna be on your back and just at a disadvantage all the time. So wrestling's super important, but at the end of the day, grappling's grappling. So I try to learn it all. Uh, you know, always be open for more information. Even after almost 10 years, I mean, I see moves that I'm like, wow, I've either never done that before, or maybe my grip needs to adjust, or maybe I'm looking this way, I need to look this way. I mean, there's so many like intricate details. Purple, brown, black belt is all about like it's rare I'm going to see a move I've never seen. It's more like I get in front of a guy who does a move a special way. It's a move that is really in his arsenal, and I can see the grip or the grip exchange that he's using, or something really intricate like that. Like his foot is here instead of here. He uses a pistol grip instead of a gable grip. Whatever, like little things like that are usually the adjustments I'm making at this point. But I mean, sometimes you make a little grips transition or switch a grip and your submission goes from blue belt level to brown. So yeah, I mean, still learning. I always try to blend the arts. I think it's good to kind of get a little bit of everything, but I try to keep an open mind to grappling's grappling. Just learn it all.
Now, so as a purple belt, they say that like every purple belt has cheers. They say every purple belt has one thing that is like mastered. Like they've mastered one thing. What would you say is that like one thing from your game that you feel like is like top level, maybe not unbeatable to certain guys, but like mastered in certain lights?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a back hunter. It's no secret. Anybody who trains with me knows. Like, I'm pretty. It's not a like. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Anybody you come to one practice with me, you're gonna see like I do one thing. If and now I like, of course, I want to be like I was just talking about, well rounded. But if the skill levels are close and I'm going like plan A, I mean the plan A is always get to the back. I did
Mhm.
most of my, I'm like 170 right now because I'm losing a little bit of weight. I was actually like 180, almost 185 like a month and a half ago, but I've been dieting and because I'm gonna be competing on June 8th with some teammates, but uh yeah, I think it's good to be well rounded, but like you said, after purple belt, you definitely do want to have like a game. You want to build a style that works well around your body type, your strengths, and mine's definitely attack the back, plan A. and that usually opens up my front chokes. I'm a big front choke guy, so I like, the guillotine anaconda, darce, and the back is where I want to be primarily. If I can't be there, I want to be on top. I'm a wrestle up, and you'll never see me playing guard, let alone close guard. Like I just now that's not to say I don't, as my cat wants some attention. You got to have a good guard and work your bottom game. Don't get me wrong, but I like to have a good bottom game for when people put me there. If you don't put me there, I'm never looking to be on my back. And
Yeah.
I'm more of an open guard player as far as my back. If you put me on my back, I'm looking for to play open guard and be aggressive to either set up a sub or get right back on top, wrestle up. Even I'm my front chokes because the offense. As you do jujitsu, when your offense gets good in one area, your defense naturally gets good there.
Hmm.
So I did most of my jujitsu at like 140 pounds. This is the heaviest I've ever been. That's why I brought up the weight. Got off topic, but uh, so I was always the smallest guy in the room. So I
Hmm.
learned to go to the back because, like you said, getting thrown around. My first couple of years of jujitsu was I was 135, 140 pounds with no wrestling, with no jujitsu. Dudes were literally just chucking me around. I was getting tapped out by 115-pound girls. like,
Yeah.
uh, and I'm not knocking that. I'm just,
Yeah,
like,
no. I feel that completely. There's some 115-pound girls that absolutely beat the dog shit out of me. But
it
like
happens.
I'm a skinny guy too. Like I'm like 150, and if I didn't have my wrestling background, I would be getting thrown around way crazier than I am. But like once those gi grips come, especially guys like that are my own size, and that once those grips come in, it's just like it's kind of wraps for me. But you saying that you don't like you can't catch you in your guard makes me so happy because I like to play top and I'm like a back hunter too. I like to grab the gift wrap, especially in mount, and just like find my way back there. And
Oh
and
yeah.
my guard is ass. Like if I'm down there, I'm gonna try to get in spider and butt scoot my way out and until I'm in a good position. So that makes me incredibly happy that you just mentioned that. But so you mentioned earlier that you've trained under many black belts, meaning you've trained in a lot of different gyms. And there's one gym that I want to get into. You had mentioned on Twitter that there was this gym that there was stuff going on at like very weird stuff, and you'll get into that. And the guy got arrested, the guy that ran the gym, for crazy acts. And can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of a dark topic, and it is a long story, honestly. So I'll try to not go on and on.
We
But
got time.
yeah. I mean, hey, every people do ask me about this all the time. It's definitely hectic, and I mean, people ask me this IRL all the time. This was like somebody I looked at as like kind of a father figure, like the guy I talked about earlier who got me to come to the gym. It was basically like his little brother, not by blood, but it was his purple belt, his original purple belt. He was my first black belt. I have trained with a lot of black belts, like you said, but as far as actual like having a head coach, I've only had two. My current one now, and then my old one, the one you're referring to, James Hardiman. So he was kind of he was always kind of blackballed around this area because he didn't go things about the traditional way. He trained under Lloyd Irvin, one of the bigger gyms in this area on the East Coast, and had a falling out with them. Left, started his own gym, and the training was always good. I can never knock that. Like I learned a lot, and I'm happy. Now I'm starting a gym, and I've taken the negative out of it, and I got a lot of good training, and I learned a lot of things that I don't want to regret or regret. But there was a lot of, like you talked to, dark shit that I didn't a lot I clearly didn't know about, but also the shit I did see, like it there. And this is common in martial arts. Like if you've been training for a while and you're listening to this, you're probably like, yeah, I've seen that, or I know somebody, or unfortunately it is a dark cloud under the jiu-jitsu and martial arts community. Is there's a lot of toxic, like cult like behavior in these gyms. And, I'm loyal to a fault sometimes. I walked into the wrong gym and, the training was good. And when I started at 20, I was like, I'm going to the UFC. Like, I'm going to fucking be an MMA fighter is what I want to do. And, you know, uh, trusted the wrong people. And, I never saw any of these things because now he's getting accused of some seriously like heinous crimes. Nothing that he would let me or anybody in the gym know, but we did see a cult like behavior where, I mean, he wanted to control every aspect of your life. And I'm telling you, like, most of the people, 99% of the people listening to this part have never experienced anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever showed my friends this person, they would literally be like, yo, that person is like insane. That I've never met anybody like that in my life. Like, type of person tell you like, God, I spoke to God, he told me I have to do this. And like, it's one thing if it's like, I'm not knocking, I'm just saying when people, it's typically a red flag when people are like, God told me that I have to start this gym and you're going to be my right hand man. But at that time, we opened a gym together, and at that I had already been training with him for like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been through a lot. Yeah, I'd seen some shit like him beating up people at the gym. Like, I'm not talking about on the mat. I'm talking about like you disobeyed something as far as out the gym shit. Like, I lived at the gym, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just in the gym. Like I said, I wanted to go to the UFC. Me and three other guys lived at the gym and trained full time. So we coached the kids, we coached the adults, and we did our own private training. And I did that for years. For really like 6 years, I spent my life at the gym, like 24/7, coaching, training. Uh, and this person, unfortunately, there's a lot of situations out there where coaches like that, like they get these, like he would call them lost boys, like dudes, young men who don't have a lot going in their life, and he'd basically bring you out. You're gonna go to the UFC, and you end up doing all the work for the gym, coaching all the classes. He's getting all this labor out of you for free, and also like he's getting training partners. Nothing's ever black and white. He did bring me and other people in when I was homeless, and a lot of other people that went there were in troubled times. So nothing's ever black and white. You know what I mean? I always had a soft spot for this person because I never had a lot of people did things for me when I didn't have anything to offer them, and maybe I had to offer some coaching, some assistant coaching, but other than that, I was a homeless kid with a drug problem. He didn't really have to let me sleep on the mats and shit. But because of that, I saw past a lot of the toxic shit, like him trying to control everybody's life and him trying to have sex with all the girls that train there. But those are always of like women, regular women. So then 2 years ago, I left the gym. Basically, honestly, I don't think I ever would have left. The crazy thing is, I don't even know. I don't think I've ever said this like online and shit. I told like my fiance and a couple people, but uh, the real like last straw for me leaving was like 2.5 years ago when maybe almost three was I actually fell asleep on Discord. I left the Discord on. We were like chilling, like watching some shit, and I left the Discord on, and everybody chilled on my Discord like all night, and they were in there at like 6:30 a.m. or something, still hanging out, and I was passed the fuck out. Uh, and I friggin' woke up to my door like getting kicked down, like getting friggin' he was like punching my door as hard as he could, and my Discord was on, and my mic is like you could hear everything in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wake up in a panic thinking like my house getting broken into. I've had a hectic past, so I've had my house broken into, I've had it door kicked down by SWAT and shit like that, so it was like a PTSD, man. I actually like kind of like squeezed my wrist during the stress of that so hard that I like fucked my like forever. I think I've like disfigured my wrist. Side note. But yeah, we're getting to a real tangent here.
Yeah, we are.
But I woke up to him banging on my door. I went,
Uh-huh.
spoke to him, and the Discord heard of him being like, I'll fucking kill you. You're fucking like you're supposed to be up. You're supposed to be doing like like we opened this gym together, and basically once we signed that contract, I did everything. I coached all the classes. I coached all the kids classes. I recruited everybody, and he just basically wanted me like out there doing all this shit 24/7. Like the fact that I was still sleeping at like 6:37. And wasn't already out like going door to door and like doing shit like that for the gym, he was like freaking out. Like trying to like kill me. Like it was like crazy, and my
Mm.
Discord heard all that. So I like walked back, and I was probably would have like let it go because I honestly dealt with shit like that over the years. But like the fact that I went back and like all my friends over like a lot like long term friends on Discord were like, bro, we were about to call the cops. What the fuck was that? Yo, he
Yeah.
said this, he said this. I was like, yeah. And like it kind of put it into perspective for me a little bit. I was like, then like a couple other people, like my brother heard about it and like how so then I was like, damn, it kind of just made me think about it. And it was really like hurting my relationship and shit. So I left for those type of reasons and I walked away from a gym that I built. Like every member there, I signed up. When I left the gym, half the kids class left and were sending me, messages. Oh, we took little Sally out because we joined for you, and they had to close the gym down and shit because I did everything there. I ran that gym, and all he was doing was scaring everybody away, either trying
Mm.
to fuck the kids' moms or fuck dudes' girlfriends and shit, or telling dudes what would you do if I tried to R word your family. Like he would try to get you to sign up by being like, what the fuck would you do if I tried to hold you down or hold your fucking wife down in front of you or some shit? Like he would literally say that shit to like my friends who I would get to like come sign up and shit like that. Like this is the
Yeah.
type of behavior this was like normal behavior. So when I left the gym, it fell apart. And then come to find out, now he's being charged with heinous crimes. I probably shouldn't say get your YouTube fucked up, but yeah, I mean it's definitely dark, and obviously I knew nothing about that, and the victim has actually reached out to me and been like, I know you don't know anything about this. I want you to understand what happened, and I talked to her. I'm like, that's fucking, if you need anything, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how there's kind of a lot to say on here, but I mean, I might end up having to be a fucking testify on this shit. Like, detectives have called me. Now, I don't know anything about the actual crimes, but they want me to be like a character witness and shit. And I mean, it's definitely hectic, and this is a lot to talk about on YouTube, but it's definitely hectic, man. This is somebody I looked at as like, I never really had a father figure, and this was like a father figure that kind of gave me this thing that where I kind of learned like like I learned a skill that I put 7 years of my life into, now almost 10. And I mean, I'm telling you, when it was like wake up at 6 7 a.m. and then get home at 2 a.m. and then wake up and do it again and then wake up and do it again, and that was 7 days a week. Like I didn't get to go see my grandfather when he was dying. I didn't go to family trips. I didn't do shit, dude. It was like if I took a day to do something, it was like you're a coach. You can't fucking miss class. Like I was there 24/7, man. Like so, when I left, it was like a shock. My life completely changed. I was literally waking up in like a sweat at like 7 a.m. Like, oh, oh no, I don't have to do anything. I can just do what I want to do. I like it was weird. And I mean, genuinely, I mean, by definition, it really was like a cult. You don't realize that when you're in it, you're just like, it is kind of common in the martial arts industry. And obviously, I wish I would have known to the extent of some of the things he was doing because it would have pushed me to leave earlier. But, obviously things would be even worse now if I would have continued to build this gym up for 2 more years and then for him to just smear everything with his fucked up, ways. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, lots of emotions when I think about that, including guilt to just be around a person like that for I knew he was a bad person. Like you even saw in the, Twitter is just a toxic place sometimes. So 99% of the responses to that were like, hey, I'm sorry you went through this. Hey, I appreciate you, you know, saying something about this because this is a fucking psychopath, dude. Like y'all don't even understand. This motherfucker lives like 20 minutes away from me. Me coming out and publicly saying shit like that, like, bro, like he notices that shit, and like there is a risk. Like this is somebody who is a psychopath, dude. Like
Mm.
he really will try to hurt somebody. Like so, it took a lot to, and I had to like get permission from my fiance to like, yo, I'm gonna like speak out on this shit, and she agreed with it because she doesn't want anybody thinking I condone that shit, and Yeah, I mean, it's hectic, lots of emotions, including guilt, just to be around somebody like that. Like I said, I knew he was a bad person, but you don't know. Even when I first heard it, I'm like, damn, I know he's a piece of crap, but like, I've never seen anything like that. The man has a daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I would never think something like that. Like I said, he took me in when I was homeless and I didn't have a lot. So even though I've seen him do like violent shit and stuff like that, and be like controlling, aggressive, cult-like figure. It was kind of like, oh, necessary evil. I'm trying to go to the UFC, and also this person did a lot for me. Maybe I'll see past his fucking, ways. I don't know, his personality, and because I don't know, and maybe there's a good side to him, but obviously not. And what is it? Whatever, 2020, the past is 2020, whatever the fucking saying is. I mean, live and learn. I train at a
Mhm.
gym now it was culture shock, a 180. I walked into this gym I'm at now. It's actually a guy who went there as a black belt and coached a little bit and then left because he was like, I don't vibe with this guy at my old gym. And this dude, like I said, super qualified, probably the best dude I've ever had the pleasure of fucking training, let alone learning from. The coolest fucking guy, and literally couldn't be a quicker or a bigger 180. We went from like the biggest fucking egomaniac. Like literally, you have never have in your life met a person like this. I'm telling you right now. Like this person literally looks at himself as like a god. To somebody who now, my coach Eric, he will literally come to kids class wearing like a rash guard with like unicorns and fucking pink and purple kitties on him and shit, and then fuck all of us up after kids class, like wearing like a leotard, like a fucking pink and purple, fucking goofy, looking like a straight dork. And he's not like he's super big, like 190, 200, and he's literally like throwing heavyweights around and submitting them at will. Like it's a
Nah,
180.
that's
Yeah,
perfect.
but hey, man, that at the end of the day, yeah, hold on. Yeah, at the end of the day, man, like, you meet a lot of characters in the martial arts community. I'd like to say I met like people I consider friends and family for life. And at the same time, you meet a lot of troubled people, and I mean there's going to be bad eggs in every industry, but obviously when you're doing something like fighting, martial arts, let's be honest, there's going to be a higher percentage of I don't even want to say misfits because that's really not there's nothing wrong with that, but there's going to be a higher percentage of scumbag. Let's just be honest, it's the fight
Yeah,
game. Like,
especially in mixed martial arts training. No, you mentioned that it's kind of normal. Not the crazy shit you went through, but the beginning stages of it. That it's kind of normal MMA gym behavior. I'm blessed to be in a gym where I don't see it much. We have, even my gym has a Friday free community night where we welcome everybody from other gyms to come train for the night for no charge. And so like that really opens up the community too. And but there is one gym that if people come train on that Friday night, they will be punished. So we don't see that one gym, and I'm sure there's behavior like that there. Hopefully not to that extent, but that's insane. And you actually just announced recently that you're opening your own gym. Is this kind of like everything you went through? Did this kind of lead to you saying, "Fuck it, I'm gonna open my own gym"? Like, is it completely yours, or do you have no partner this time?
yeah, so I did take a part. I did take an investor. So basically, yeah, I mean, obviously, I left a sour taste in my mouth. So I said the next time, I'm gonna have full reign and do it myself because like I said, I didn't only walk away empty-handed from. I mean, I literally walked away empty-handed from not just like my gym and my dream. Like honestly, I knew early on when I started jujitsu and kickboxing and training in general, MMA, like I was like, especially once I transitioned out from like, okay, there's other things I want to do in life, and there's other like streaming and like making content and like, just other things. And let's be honest, I did start a little later, like 20. I didn't wrestle. I was like, there's Khabibs out there who started at 5, trained forever, and I know there's exceptions, but in general, my goals kind of changed from wanting to go to the UFC to like because there's other focuses, and because I know that if you're not in the 1%, you're not going to make any money. Let me change my focus to I want to own gyms, I want to coach. I really fell in love with coaching too, and I was like, I want to coach, I want to open gyms. Those kind of became my end goal. So I've known since like for 9 years that like my end goal was always uh, owning gyms, coaching full time, and like that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, after everything happened with James, I had to take a step back. I had to, I took a job that was, I mean, I made a lot of money, but I sold my soul. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
and after a year and a half of that, it was like I had a friend who had been telling me for a long time, like, man, I'd like to invest, and because it's not that I didn't, gyms don't take a lot of money to start up, but I wanted, I have a family, that I need to support, and um, I mean, let alone if we wanted to grow our family or something. I wanted to be secure, and not just have the money to open a gym, but know that I have room to while it takes some time to get it going and making money. Especially when I was making good money with my other job. So it took a lot to kind of just take that plunge again, even though I wanted to. But I've had a friend for a long time who was saying like, dude, you'd be helping me to let me invest in. I don't have the like business knowledge or the jujitsu knowledge or the coaching ability or any of that. Let me invest into, we work something out where, basically, obviously I'm doing all the coaching. I'm doing all the, like, I know how to open. I've actually helped James open 3 gyms.
Mm.
Obviously I was getting fucked the first two, and then the third, I was the 50% owner, but I ended up, obviously, like I said, walking away. So, we came up with a really good, deal. And I mean, I have complete control and reign over this, and it's a really good deal for both of us. I really like it. There would be nobody else I would do it with, and I was able to do it with my black belt. So to keep him as our black belt, and be an affiliate gym with him. So
Mhm.
that was the only way I would do it. I would never step away without Eric, just for taking me in. Especially because, like I said, I was loyal to the wrong people. So I spent 7 years like, oh, I can't leave. Like, this is my gym. I don't want to be a creante. I don't want to be a friggin' rat. Uh, so, like, once I did leave, it was a lot of like stress over like who's gonna take me in, especially because James was hated around here, dude. We were the guys who showed up wearing black, and he didn't call Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it was American Jiu Jitsu, and he was like fuck the tradition, and like he created an advanced white belt and a beginner blue, and like changed the belt system, and he did a lot of things that were a middle finger to the tradition, to like to Jiu Jitsu and to the culture. So like he pissed off a lot of people, and he was the type who like would go talk shit at all the tournaments, and like we'd be damn near getting into fights every tournament because he'd be like trying to fist fight people like at the other coaches and shit. Like he was notorious in this DMV area for sure. So I had a reputation because I was always around him, so I was worried about who was going to take me in. But he took me in, and he's just been fucking amazing. I love me, Eric Bidark, like Takedown Nation. So my gym, East Coast Grappling, is gonna be an affiliate of Takedown Nation. I wouldn't have it any other way. There's no way. Not for all the fucking money in the world. Would I turn my back on Eric after taking me in after all the shit I went through with my first coach and first gym. So yeah, I mean, everything's worked out great. I mean, I'm gonna be doing the like day to day, like the coaching most of it, and then I'm gonna have Eric come by and show these dudes like, yo, you think I'm good? Like, look at this motherfucker. Watch what he does when we roll. Like, I'm not about all that. Let me stroke my ego and be the best dude in the room. Like, I'm gonna
Mm.
make sure that I bring the dudes from Takedown Nation that can give me a good roll, and then Eric that can come fuck me up, and I'm gonna be like, you know that was always a good thing. I've always liked to do is like when I'm training with a lot of beginners, it's like they start getting in their head like these purple belts are so fucking good. I'm like, you think I'm good? Take a look at this dude. And that's not to say that like at the end of the day belts don't fucking matter, but if the dude's legit like Eric, then yeah, I mean there's gonna be a gap. So you know, yeah, I mean the gym has been a huge thing, man. Opening that gym and then having it go to shit like it did was fucking a roller coaster ride. Obviously, it was my dream come true, and then taken away. So to
Mhm.
now get a second shot at it is it means the world for sure.
Yeah, no, and it seems like you're going about it the right way this time. And there's two things I want to question about that whole rant right there. The
Yeah,
first
it was
thing
a rant.
is
Hey, you said I could rant.
no, no,
You said I could
I
rant.
like the yapping. I always appreciate it. The friend, the investor, does he also grapple? Is he a jiu-jitsu guy? And my second question, the coaching, you're not going to be the only coach, are you? Is there going to be one or two other coaches, just so because the last time I know you said you were doing all the coaching, you were doing all of the promoting for the gym, and I'm hoping you're not going to be the only one doing all of the work this time as well.
So, the only reason I said that in the first time is like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love coaching, dude. I
Mm-hmm.
really love it. The only reason I brought that up is because, to walk away from something that was, I did 99% of the work. All this dude did
Yeah.
was like sign his name on a piece of paper. But yeah, I mean, Eric's gonna be coming down. Like I said, he's gonna be my coach still, so he'll be coming down, and we're gonna mix the schedule up so people can have the ability to go to both gyms because they're only going to be like 35, 40 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, so Eric will come by a little bit, I'll coach, and I've actually I want to do some, even though I want to hire a guy to come in who's even better than me. Like, my kid, I have decent kickboxing, but I want to have a guy come in and not only teach me but teach the guys. So I think me and Eric for the grappling, and then bring a kickboxing coach in, and that's the early plan. But I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm gonna be there all the time, be grinding it. But I mean, that's what I want to do. Like
Mm.
now the situation's different, and I'm protected, and whereas before I kind of just had to kind of trust somebody, and that getting mixing business with friends, especially when the friends are these type of people. Obviously, it can get dicey, but the way that we've done it this time, I really learned from that, and I've honestly yeah, I'm really happy with the way that things are set up now, and I'm really looking forward to being able to coach all the time, man. Like I probably will be coaching like 5 days a week, and I'm excited for that, man. I'm like
Mm.
I can't, that's what I'm used to doing. That's what I want to do. So yeah, I will be doing it primarily of the grappling coaching. I'll be having him coming down teaching specifically wrestling. Um, and yeah, I mean that's the plan. So, and then what was your first question?
Is the investor also a
Uh,
jiu-jitsu practitioner?
yeah, he's a white belt. I've been training him now for a little while. So like he's been into MMA for a while, and we've been friends. We used to work together, and he was like, "Ah, you need to get back into the like." He came and saw me train and shit. He was like, "You need to get back into like, you need to open another gym. You need to do this. Like, why are you even in sales? Like, you need to be doing this gym shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean security, like this, that." And then that's when he started coming to me like, I mean, this dude, he was very high up in the sales. Like he was number two in a $20 million dealership. So, you know, uh, he was coming to me like, yo, like, let me invest. Like, I want, like, I think, I believe, not because I'm trying to do you a favor, because I genuinely have seen you do this under worse circumstances. So let's do this without the negative shit, without these people that are chasing everybody away and some shit that I can't even like talk about on here. But, um, I mean, really, I guess I could now. I'm off the lease. But, people like sleeping at the gym, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I lived at the gym, but I'm saying, when it became like a crash pad, like a fucking party house, it's like, bro, like, my name's on this shit. Like, and this
Yeah.
is business. Like, you're risking everything for like nothing to like get fucked up. And anyways, like, uh, yeah, I mean, I'm just not gonna have any of that shit now. And I mean, as far as Dustin, just a good dude, a hard worker. Obviously knows a thing or two about sales, and he's coming at it like, yo, like you're bringing a lot of things to the table that I don't have. So let me make it worth it. Let me, make it to where you don't have to start off like with some, I've had little tiny gyms that I turned into little hidden gyms, but he's like, yo, let's come at it the right way. Let's go at it. I believe in this dream. Like, I'm willing to invest. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like to get into the whole money thing, but like the first couple of times we talked about it, and I was literally like, nah. He was literally like, I'll give you a blank check. Like, let you write. Like, I trust you completely. You put the number. I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah.
this dude has like he is comfortable and he is like just a good dude and he trusts me. And like I literally turned that down like 2-3 times. I was like, nah, man, like nah. Like I had just got a promotion at work. I was making a lot of money, and I was like, it doesn't make sense to like turn my back on this field that I waited for so long. Like I don't think I'm ready yet. Like it was scary. I got the whole, like I don't know. I mean, it was a good job to walk away from. Obviously, was I passionate about it? No, but I felt like you got to make sacrifices sometimes. So I did
Mm.
what I had to do. But yeah, I mean, he talked me into it. He gave me basically a fucking deal I couldn't refuse. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to make sure that my family was protected. And is sometimes you tell yourself you got to make these fucking sacrifices, especially as men. You got to make sacrifices to make sure your family's good. But to now have the ability to like do both, yeah. I mean, my life. I mean, that's why I was MIA for like a year, dude. I was just grinding, like, dude. I was leaving my house to go to work at like 8 a.m. and I was getting home at like 10.
Mm.
So, like, yeah, I was making money, but other than that, man, I couldn't do shit. I couldn't stream. I couldn't make content. I could barely train. I was having to train at odd hours with small groups, and you know, uh, yeah, man, that ain't it. I'm happy as fuck to be back doing what I'm meant to be doing, and shit, cheers to that, man.
Yeah, cheers. And I do want to get into the content next. However, great idea for the first event at the gym. White belt versus white belt. Swaggy versus the investor. However, you've been making content for a while. And I
I'm down,
believe
by the way.
let's get it. And I believe you started with Twitch. The live streaming vibes. What made you want to start making content?
I mean, honestly, I've always been a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always been a gamer. So, like, I remember when Twitch was Justin.tv and I had an account, but I just like I was always like 90% of people you talk about that want to stream. I was like, oh, I gotta get like wait till my setup is it better, and I gotta get a camera, and I gotta. Nah, dude, it's my number one piece of advice to people who want to start creating content is like just press start stream, man. Yeah, you don't want to lag. Like get your connection, like don't to where like people can hear you. And then obviously if they want to see you, but like if you're brand new and you want to stream for a little bit without a webcam, you can. Look at some of the biggest streamers. Yes, if I would recommend a webcam, a mic, no lag. If you can do those three things, you're good. You have everything. You could be the biggest streamer of all time. Everything else is like some people don't even like all that crazy setup. Like some people like when it's just plain. You know what I mean? Like so I started streaming, I think like probably 6.5 years ago or something like that on Twitch. I think it said that when we checked it the other day on stream. But yeah, I was streaming like UFC 2 and some random games. Like I streamed some 2K, some just whatever I played. I've always been the type that I'm just gonna stream what I play. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I game, I stream. I turn the stream on. Like if people come and it's a bigger stream, cool. If people don't really come and I'm just gaming, cool. I was gonna do that anyways. So it's like
Yeah.
my style isn't like, and everybody has their thing. You got people like Doctor Disrespect who are playing a character the whole time and it's sick. Me, I'm it's the opposite. I'm just gonna play games and when people talk, I'm gonna respond and be my normal self and then you know what I mean. So it's not gonna be the most hype like experience in my stream. It's more of like a chill. I'm gaming and chilling, and then if you come and want to hang out and talk and shoot the shit, we're gonna shoot the shit back. I'm not gonna like turn it on or do anything. And because I do that, I can just stream when I game, and it's not a thing. I don't have to like turn on. You know, if I'm not in the mood, it's like I'll just be a little quieter that day. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, streaming's not the only content you do though, and everything you said about streaming is exactly me, by the way. You know, I do on occasion will plan these big massive streams, but those will be promoted throughout weeks. However, my daily stream is I'm getting high and I'm chilling. And you stream right before I start, so usually I'm watching your stream while I'm getting ready for mine. And you do literally the same thing. I was watching you play UFC the other day. You were high as shit. High as hell. Just you were getting rocked. But you were like, fuck it, I'm chilling. However, you do a bunch of other things too. You have a podcast, bless you. You have a podcast with JMMA and Pry. And you also do a lot of gambling content. Can you kind of dive into your YouTube a little bit?
Yeah, so most of my ad on YouTube's CotyDankh. The only one that's not CotyDankh is Twitter, like it says right there, CotyJitsu, bastards. But what's it called? Or X, I should say. But yeah, no. As far as the gambling content, I do my on at CotyDankh. I do all my betting content. I've been doing those for like 5 years. I mean, I've been gambling MMA for a long time. I stick to just MMA, besides maybe a little boxing here and there. But I do the full card breakdowns early in the week, and then I do like a shorter video, kind of summarizing my bets, making it like quick because some people want the long form, some people want the short, so I kind of do both. Plus, the short one gives me a chance to. It's later in the week, so props drop because props for a lot of these sports books don't drop until like Wednesday, Thursday, or like Wednesday. So for the Thursday video, then props will have dropped, so I can kind of give people at least 90% of my bets. And then as far as all of my bets, I always tweet them out like before the fight start on Twitter. Right there. There. And then what's it called? Sunday I recap the videos on my channel, and then me, Pry, and Jay, we just started a channel. We've kind of been doing like short form, just kind of scatter like on certain topics. We just started that called Combat Corner. It's brand new. We've like 100 subs, so it's small, but we want to do it more. We've been just texting about it yesterday. Recording. Actually, probably gonna record tonight. Probably be out like maybe tomorrow or something. But yeah, I mean we've been doing those. Me, Jay, and Pry have done like not even a named podcast, but we've gotten together to break down fights on Pryox's YouTube in the past. So now we're just kind of like, let's make it like a regular thing, like once a week, and we'll put the clips out on instead of doing one long video and making people have to sit there for an hour and a half. Which I like to do that for some of my videos, but we'll do something a little different and do like 20-minute clips. So I like to kind of mix it up, but I mean I can talk MMA all day. I mean my life the past 10. I mean really since I was a kid I've been a fan, but the last 10 years, it's been like training and betting MMA and watching every single fight. I mean, it's a great time to be an MMA fan, honestly. Like even, some of these Apex shows, do I get as excited to do an hour breakdown on those? Sometimes, no. I will say sometimes no, but sometimes it'll be like the shitty cards and I'm like, yo, low key, like these, like after you watch the tape and you like look into the fights more, I'm like, yo, this fight's about to be a straight banger.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And you've won me money before. I think it was you had the Brian Ortega sub, and I put a bunch of money on the Brian Ortega sub, and it was when he subbed Yair, I think. Subbed somebody,
Okay.
but and that was fantastic. However, I didn't listen to you on UFC 300, and I had the worst betting experience of my entire life. So I've stepped away for a couple weeks because UFC 300 ruined me. However, you said you've been watching UFC since you were like 10. When did you Of course, illegally. When did you begin gambling on MMA? And do you remember the first ever bet you won?
Man, I wish I could remember the first bet I won. I started off playing like crazy parlays. Like I would just play like, $10 like a lot of people on like 7 leg parlays. And I obviously typically missed and would just be donating my money to the bookies. But as I started to like it, because even though I had already been watching the sport for so long, I mean, yeah, I was going to Blockbuster, like I said, and like me and my brother were getting the DVDs, getting the Ultimate Knockouts, Ultimate Submissions. I mean, I was watching the super old shit. My first like real favorite fighter was probably Forrest Griffin, but I mean, I was watching even before him. I just like that was the first fight. Like I bought his books as like a kid and was like super into it. I don't know why I didn't start training earlier, but but yeah, no, first bet, I don't really remember. It was like probably like a solid 7, 8 years ago. So I didn't really do it as like a kid. I was of age. And you can, even if you're in a state that doesn't allow gambling technically, you can still use out of state or out of the US books, and it's legal to use bet online, you can use that.
In my bookie, I believe.
There's a bunch of them, and yeah, so it's not illegal to do, and I was of age. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember the first bet, but it was, I was losing more bets than I was hitting in the beginning. And then it takes time. You got to learn because early on you could know how to break down a fight, but it's not just about picking winners. I always tell people because people will be like, you picked fucking blah blah blah. Why? Because like I'll cash a bet on like a 4-1 underdog or
The
something.
Ngannou
And,
not to get knocked down, you were getting hate for. You were
yeah.
getting hate for.
I mean, he did get. I mean, that just gonna happen. But yeah, that just gonna happen. But I mean, hey, it was a good number. But like let's say for example, like I hit Neil Magny round 3 TKO, and people were like, oh, but you picked Malat, like blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, like picks and bets are different. Of course, like half the time or most of the time, I'm gonna think that the 3 or 4 to 1 favor is probably their rightful favorite and should win. But you don't pick fighters; you pick numbers when you're betting.
Hmm.
So I can pick a guy, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna bet him as a 4-1 favorite. I'm like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like have people it's an adjustment. So I've learned over the past couple of years to be less like do a little less on like the parlays and bet and chalk because MMA is a crazy sport. I won a lot of money on parlays. Like after like a year or two of like being so when I first started, uh I actually cashed a lot of money betting like doing like the parlay thing where I would have like a couple anchors every card, like 2 3 anchors on the card where like all my parlays were attached to them or at least most of them, and then like a couple 5 legs, a couple 6 7 leg, and then go crazy on like a little sprinkle on like a 10 leg. And I made money doing that for a while. But now my style is a lot less. Like I might have 1 or 2 parlays, but I'm really looking for like straight money, like either big money props or like underdogs. You don't want to get too honed in on a style though. Like you want to play the numbers that make sense. You
Hmm.
don't want to be like, oh, I'm the underdog guy. I find want to enforce underdogs. But at the same time, like I do think overall, if you get too dependent on parlays and MMA especially, like they say parlays built Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, and that is because most people are parlaying are like yeah, they put like small amounts, but they're putting like ridiculous crap in there. Whereas
Yeah.
like, so most of the time they're gonna miss. But and hey, I think if you're doing crazy parlays, they should be like props, like so and so by knockout, so sub, and so round 2. If you do something like that as a parlay, at least then if that bit hits, we go on Sizzler. But I just think parlaying like -500 and beyond favorites on a regular basis in MMA, you will lose money. Like But
For
gambling's
sure. And yeah, no, parlays. So I have a parlay story. So I was in
yeah.
Vegas for Volkanovski Islam 1, and that Sunday was the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl. So I had a wild parlay. It was like 3 Super Bowl props and then Volkanovski by decision. And when it busted, obviously Saturday night when Volk got robbed. And but the thing you said was the favorites in parlays
Yeah.
because MMA is so disgustingly weird where somebody can be like a -1,000 favorite and get knocked out first round.
Yeah.
Like because Vegas is still a little new when it comes to odds making for MMA. Do you bet any other sports or is it just straight MMA bets?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll go, I'll do a little in boxing, but for the most part, I find like if I'm winning in MMA, why give it right back to the bookies on these other sports? Like, I'm not sharp in any other sport. I always tell my friends like, if you start seeing me gamble or my fiance, if you start seeing me gamble other sports, that's when you need to like say, hey, no, stop.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Everybody goes
yeah.
through a dark path, I feel, with sports gambling because I had my DGen era. You know, I was like 23 and I would find myself up at 3 a.m. watching Russian tennis, putting money on people I've never heard of before, but they
Mhm.
looked like they could smack that ball where it belonged. And but since I've kind of just narrowed it down to MMA and playoff NFL,
Yeah,
because playoff NFL is where you get the sleepers.
yeah.
Always bet against Dallas first round. That's what I've learned. Being a Cowboys fan myself. And do you ever find yourself in the casino playing any like table games or anything?
No, I mean, I need to go up there and do a poker trip, but honestly, like I don't really like crowds, man. Honestly, I'm not a big like I can make an exception for like certain events and like, concerts and stuff, but even then, I'm not a big crowds guy, so I'm not big on casinos, but I do want to go to play poker cuz before I was betting MMA, I was playing online poker. Uh Definitely love playing poker, so I do need to go to a casino, in person for that, but you know, nah Nah, I do. If I lived closer, but it would be like a solid 2 hour drive.
Oh
So
shit!
yeah,
I
it's not
live.
really a casino super close.
Oh, well, Rhode Island's tiny anyway, but I live like 5 minutes from the nearest casino.
Oh yeah,
So sometimes I itch for a little bit of $1 blackjack.
yeah.
But I haven't done it in a long time. Now how do you go about preparing a slip for each MMA card? Do you like, is it all you hit record and then you kind of just like go over footage and then edit from there, or are you already like deep balls deep in like looking at footage and doing all of that before you even get ready to give people your picks?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to be 1 week ahead at least,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to miss the line. You might see like somebody has like a -200, and then like by the time it's like Monday of fight week, they're like -450, and then it's like, oh, well, now I either have to take a dog shot because this line's blown out, or but so I try to stay at least 1 week ahead. If I can get like further, obviously for like the big fights, like when big fights get announced, and I have like a heavy lean, and a lot of times like the big fights, the lines come out earlier, so I'll try to get on them then. But I don't try to go too early unless I have a really confident lean because you never know. Like guys can look like absolute dog crap on fight week, or there could be like a big switch up, or there could be maybe there's a prop that I want to see a little bit later in the week, or so I try to not jump the gun unless I have to. Like what I like to do, that's why I was trying to get my journal out, is I'll write everything down, like I'll write every fighter down, or every fight, and then I'll write the props that are sticking out to me, if any, for every card. I know you can't see it a ton, but you can get an idea.
Oh my god.
And so I'll write like line, or like for this one I had like Aldrich by decision, and then like I have my winners for every single. So I'll have the fights. Sorry, I'm fucking faded. Speaking of which, but I'll have like my pick for every single one, and then props that are sticking out, like as early on as I can get, and then I'll start like that's even before I watch tape. Like that's just early. Like the second I look at the card, like a couple weeks out. Like on average, I'd say like two weeks or like a week and a half before the fights. I'll be looking at the card. Obviously, you'll have one or two fights that get added or removed, but 1.5, 2 weeks before the fights, I'll write down 1 through 13 or whatever, however many fights are on there. I'll pick my winner. Obviously, it's rare I go to as far as to switch my pick, but if that happens, I'll switch it, of course, but it's very rare. But I'll have my pick, and then I'll have like maybe like before I even see lines, like blah 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 by decision, blah 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 by knockout, blah blah first round, so and so 3.5 handicap, which means they just have to win a round basically.
Mhm.
And anything that sticks out, and then I'll go look at the lines and start watching tape and start looking through like more like looking at their fights and seeing if anything sways me very far since then. And then like fight week comes and I'm still and the whole time I should mention I'm looking at like once odds are out and stuff and I'm looking at odds early on. I'm looking at fight odds and bestfightodds.com, both of those two sites. Because I have accounts at like 15, probably like 12 sports books. So because you're gonna get a little bonus, and also like early on I wanted that bonus. Now it's honestly the rollover and all that, whatever. But it's cool, especially early on when you're playing smaller amounts. But also that's how you get the best line, because somebody might be minus 250 somewhere, minus 220 somewhere else. So you want to get that the better line. So throughout the whole time, you got to be watching the lines, like seeing, okay, this line's dropping, so I'm gonna, like, if I'm leaning the favorite and he's minus 200 and it opened minus 250 and it's going down even further, then I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna sit back, and every 2-3 times a day I'm gonna check the odds on both those sites, and I'm gonna say, okay, it's still going in my direction. I'll wait. And then let's say I wake up and it's minus 190, and now it's going back up. It's going minus 195. Oh, now I bet it. Like on the best, you know what I mean? So you got to constantly be looking at the lines, and sometimes it'll be the opposite. Early on, a line will be like, it'll open minus 250, and then by like hours later it'll be like minus 300, and then like hours later it'll be minus 350, and I'm really confident in this person. I'm like, I gotta quickly either parlay this person or say screw it. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna be minus 600 here soon. So you got to watch the lines. Like I said, you're not just picking fighters. You're betting lines. You're not betting fighters. Cheers.
Okay, so now you make all of these videos for your picks as well. Do you give us all your picks? Or
Yeah.
are there ever cards where you got some sneaky picks and you're like, I'll keep this one for myself?
Nah, I tell you guys everything.
So that's rare in gambling. You see a lot of times these guys will post one or two picks on their Twitter, and then the rest will be on their Patreon or their paid to win Discord. Do you have an idea of your total winnings for gambling? Not since you started, but since you got really really heavily invested into it.
I honestly have no idea. I mean, when I started, I was playing like I said, small amounts, like dollars on parlays and $5 on the parlays and $10 on the parlays. And then I started, like, when I got serious, I made my first unit size was $50. And like I set aside a couple thousand. I set aside, I think it was 2 grand. 2 grand I put into my, actually technically it was like $500. I put 500 onto a sports book for like a couple weeks, and then I put 500 on 3 other sports books over the next like month or something like that. Once I was like writing, once I started like a journal and was like taking it a little bit more serious and stuff like that. And then I increased my unit size a little bit. And I have upped it like the past like year. And if I decide, you know, I want to change it again, even if ends up going down, who knows? But I've been killing it this year, so there's no reason to go down. But I have no idea. I mean, nothing absurd. I'm not like these guys making like hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything. But I mean, over the course of the last 5 years, I mean, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. And I would hate to like put a number on it, but I mean, definitely, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, under $100,000, under $100,000. So nothing crazy.
What's the max number that you bet now?
On a single bet?
Yeah.
On a single bet, like $1,000.
Can you remember one that you've hit like in the recent like past?
I mean, yeah. Like I was here. Let me just pull up my last card. I mean, I had a decent bid on Derek Lewis. I had almost $1,500 on him, but that was because he was a minus. I got him at like minus 145.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah.
So like I won $1,000. On him, but I don't always do that. It just depends. That's why I don't try to. That's why I give my content for free, because I'm not like if I was gonna. I mean, I guess I don't know which is because the other, but like if I wanted to like charge, I don't want to charge people, and I don't want to also turn it into a job. So I give out all my bets. This is what I'm doing. If you want to tail it, go for it, and you're gonna see that over time I've been winning for a line. I've only gotten better, and this year's like I've only had like 4 negative events this whole year. So, and I only UFC, so I'm not playing like Bellator like that. I've actually played like 2 Bellator cards, but both those cards I had like 2 bets on the whole card, but I hit like 3 of the 4 probably. So, but it's mostly UFC because I just like to stick to like high level MMA guys even if they're bad, I know who they are. Like there's not going to be a whole lot of question marks. But yeah, I mean, when I started out, I was only betting like maybe 500 on a card, or like something like a couple hundred on a card. Or when I first started out, like I said, little parlay sprinkles like $10-20. When I started betting more serious, I'd probably bet like 300 to 600 on a card. And then it turned into like around 1,000. Now it'll be a couple thousand, but it just depends, man. And it's not about. That's why I try to never talk about the money aspect. That's why, and people will be like, "How much did you win?" Blah blah blah. It's like I'd rather just say, "Hey, look, I won good," and you can look at the bets and say that I won good, because at the end of the day, if we both make 5 bets and my 5 bets are all $1,000 bets for even money, and your 5 bets are dollar bets for even money, and yours are $1 and mine are 1,000, and you hit 4 of them and I hit 2, just because or let's say I hit 3 of them, so I made, I made a little bit of money. Just because I made a little bit more than you did better. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to unit shame people. And like, if you bet $1 on if your unit size is $1, if it's 1 penny, you could still be the greatest gambler of all time. If you're hitting your bets, I don't care if you're betting 10 cents or like some of these dudes. I know shitty gamblers on MMA Twitter that'll be like, oh, like unit shaming people, like, oh, he's only betting like, that'll be people when they post their bets and they're winning like $5 or some shit like that, and then people will be like, oh, like they're betting like tens of thousands of dollars. But I'll literally be like, bro, you lose every week. Who cares what you like? If you want to donate tens of thousands of dollars to the bookies, go for it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I've made big donations to the bookies, but I don't go out around bragging about it. But,
yeah. No, you said earlier parlays built Vegas, and I think I built Vegas. However, yeah, no, I see that too. One time I posted a crazy $1 parlay, and that shit hit. it hit for like $82, and like that's a crazy hit. It was the last dollar in my sports book. It was over like 3 nights. It was
Hell
like
yeah.
it was some stupid ass NBA games, a football game, and one random ass Bellator fight.
Yeah.
And I made it. You know, it was Gucci. But people were in my comments tearing me up for only putting $1 on it. They were like, "You should have put like 5, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Bro, it was the last dollar in there. Like, I wasn't about to
Let
put
me
more
see
money."
yours. Let me see your hit. Like, I always make sure when I see people like putting like little dollar sprinkles and hitting them, I'm always like, "Yo, hey, great!" Like people will tweet me and like their bet slips and shit, and I always make sure that they understand. Like, yo, that's a fucking great bet. It doesn't matter if you put 1 penny on that shit. Like dudes will think that they are like the better gambler just because they're betting more. And I could name names, but it's like, dude, you donate to the bookies every freaking week, and they'll even if I win like a couple grand, they're like, oh man, yeah, like that's fucking. I've had people literally like I've had some of my biggest betting nights or winning nights where I won like 8 grand, and I've had people be like, yeah, like that's fucking that's chump change and shit. Well, I actually have one more than that on. It was actually like it's been 2 cards where I've made over 10 grand, but it was mostly just because of like one big parlay. But I the better cards are when you just go like 5 for 5, and you don't even bet that much. But I've had cards where I only have like 5 6 bets, but you hit all of them, and you just fucking you know absolutely swag out. But I think I like that even better than hitting like the crazy parlay. But
Yeah, UFC 300. Well, I thought I was going like 6 for 6 that night, and I ended up going 0 for 6, and it was terrible. It was horrible. And the nail in the coffin was what's her face not finishing by TKO. She finished by submission. Not
oh,
the
Kayla Harrison.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Kayla. I was livid. That ruined my
Yeah.
night.
What screwed me was so I actually hit max by KO. I'm pulling up my card right. I hit max by KO plus 900,
Mhm.
and I hit where is it? Where the Moicano, what was it? Moicano KO plus 1600 or something like that. It
Uh-huh.
was his first KO in his career, and I hit that. I hit both of those and still managed to like break even on the night because I had so much bad luck. I had Zhang by sub, and remember she choked her out unconscious,
Yeah.
and then they let her continue the fight even though she literally was like out cold at the end of the first round. That would have cashed another plus 600 and made it a good night. And it also, I had the strike unders and I had the under in the fight. So I would have it went from being a break even to it would have been like I would have hit all 3 of those and it would have been including a plus 600 and it would have been like a great night. But because they didn't stop it for that rear naked choke, I ended up like basically breaking even. But hey, you win some, you lose some. You get some good bounces, you get some bad bounces. There's worse things that can happen than breaking even. At least I got to see some crazy. That card was insane, bro.
Yeah, that was one of the best cards I ever got to witness. Like that was incredible. That Max fight, I was exhausted. I can't remember the fight that was before that, but I was ready for bed. And also another note from UFC 300. I think I've said it every podcast episode so far. I can out grapple Jalen Turner. There's no way. There's no way. I'm a 5 month white belt and I will staunch Jalen Turner. There's no shot. However, yeah, no, 300 was crazy. But shit, Cody, we've been talking for like hour and a half now.
Damn,
It's been a crazy, yeah. I know time flies by when you're having fun. It was a crazy ass episode. We had a crazy conversation. Is there any content you want to shout out? Content coming out next week? That you want to shout out? Any you want to tell the people where to find you?
Hey, since we were talking about it, I got my UFC 302 breakdowns and my betting content. I'll drop it on my YouTube, CotyDankh, DANKH. Uh, yeah, obviously my Twitter's right below. It's all MMA stuff. But hey, appreciate you, man, for having me on. It was fun. I did warn you about that rant, so sorry y'all had to hear me talk 20 minutes straight at one point, but definitely took over the pod. But hey, it's been fun, man. Time definitely did fly. I wasn't expecting to go this long. But shit, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We drop brand new episodes every single Wednesday. New content coming out Friday. I love y'all. We'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.